Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ladies, gentlemen, gamers, and fellow League of Legends lovers. Welcome back to your 2 week check in with yours truly, where yours truly, the ADC Master, will go over the patch notes. So, technically, this came out yesterday because it's almost 1 a.m. for me on the day after, but I'm still awake. I count it as the same day, and we're here to finally go over some patch notes. Now, as per usual, hopefully I plan to just go through these kind of quick because it's so late, but also because there's really no point in really getting into the nitty gritty with this stuff. However, with the new season starting and with me playing ranked, I feel like I have a better grasp over kind of what's going on and what's good and what's not. And we'll talk about some stuff here that I do want to mention with my newfound experience on the Rift. But to be very honest, now that I'm done with all the ranked missions, and I'm very happy too, because somehow I'm still plat. Holy shit, look at that. I'm still plat 3, but we'll actually talk about that too, because there's actually some nuance with the ranking system as well. And there's a lot of news in general that we can talk about relating to League here, but basically, we're just going to go through the patch notes, talk about news, and see if there's anything surprising or cool or good with these shits. Hopefully. We're not doing as deep a dive as I used to do, but we'll see how much I want to get into it. Excuse me. Anyway, in some of the news though, one of the greatest things to happen with this new season, it's returned a lot of old school content creators to the game that I've personally loved and enjoyed and have wished that they come back to the game, two of which being Skara and the one, the only I'm a cutie pie. So, is the season good? Is the season bad? I still think it's a little too early to tell, although I do have some opinions, like I said now, especially on ADC. But the fact that Cutie is back on the game, I am very happy about that. Anyway, oh, excuse me, aside from that, and this is actually something mentioned by I'm a cutie pie, but I don't know if I'm going to continue playing ranked because ranked is ranked. I really don't have anything left to prove to anyone. I didn't even think I'd get plat again, but I'm still just that good. But one thing that I've noticed, and Cutie's noticed it too with the rank system, and I don't know if this is like a momentary thing. I don't know if it's because it's the beginning of the season. I'm really not sure why Riot's doing this. But I think a little bit of a controversy here is every win you get, you basically get plus 30. And then every loss you get minus 10. Now, if you do the math, if you have a 50% win rate, you are going to climb a lot of fucking ranks. Now, the main question I have is like, again, is this going to change? Because I know in the beginning of the seasons, while your MMR is still kind of fresh, it's really elevated. But as time goes on, you start to gain less, lose more, and it gets more equalized out. But I don't know if that's happening because my numbers haven't really changed at all. And even in general, over time in League, they've made ranking up a lot quicker and a lot simpler. They got rid of, what is it? Plat or 5, gold 5, bronze 5, silver 5. They got rid of the fifth tier of ranks, I believe. And they made it so you don't have to play promos anymore either. You just seamlessly go to the next rank. There's no promotional or provisional games either. So they've really over time made ranked a lot quicker and a lot faster to progress through. And now if they've sort of locked LP gains and losses to these amounts, rank is kind of overinflated. But we're not going to really care about that because my rank is high, and obviously I've earned it, even though everyone else is overinflated. But anyway, let's check out what's in this patch, which one of the major things in this patch, which I know is coming before even reading it, we're going to get a shit ton of updates to fucking ARAM Mayhem, and I am so fucking ready. But either way, aside from that, let's see if there's anything crazy. This is our first major live follow-up since 2026 started, blah, blah, blah. They're honing in on item balance, following a recent tune changes, tweaking vision mechanics, nice. A lot of balance changes, Jesus Christ. Again, we're going to try and go through that quickly just to not be boring too. The standout here is 80 junglers, who are somehow worse. Wow. Interesting. Then, as I said before, they're updating majorly to ARAM Mayhem, and this is where, to talk on this before I talk on my ADC opinions, before we really get into the stuff, ARAM Mayhem is, in my opinion, so fucking good. And the main concern I have is how many players is this taking away from ARAM, right? Because one of the main concerns with having too many game modes is you're fragmenting the player base, which can ultimately lead to longer queue times. And obviously no one wants that. League is a game that doesn't really have to deal with this unless you're really, really high rank, or if it's dying and dead, which it's not, fortunately or unfortunately for some people. So this is where if you have a large enough player base, it doesn't matter if you have a lot of game modes, but if you start dwindling, that's when queue times could get very long because there's not enough players in each type of game. This is where I don't know how many players it took away from ARAM, because I'm sure people are very purists at certain points where they probably hate ARAM Mayhem and they just want pure ARAM. Because ARAM has endured over the years, man. If they're taking out Twisted Treeline, but they never took out ARAM, you know people love ARAM. And obviously Riot has stats for all these, how many players are engaged within everything, which is why they brought back Arena, especially because of China. But this is where I'm assuming ARAM Mayhem is doing very, very well because this shit is just amazing. Like, I love this. I really hope it becomes permanent. This is, in my opinion, the second time. Now, obviously, the first time was last patch where they said they were extending it. But in my opinion, this is the second time where they're extending it because they're doing a major update to it. I think this game mode should just become permanent. It should be ARAM slash ARAM Mayhem. Again, my only concern is what if it fragments the player base too much? At that point, would they ever shut down ARAM and just keep Mayhem? I doubt it, but you never know. And I don't think this is ever going to really be an issue until the game really starts dying. But I'm extremely happy ARAM Mayhem is getting updated, and this shit just needs to become a permanent mode. I fucking love it. That and Arena. Although I'm a little less sure about Arena because I just really haven't played it. Because I just always go to ARAM Mayhem. It's like the perfect thing for casuals, which the game is just filled with because that's the most populous population. Not to be redundant there, but literally, if you cater a game towards casuals, you're always going to have a player base because there's just so many of them. Anyway, they're adding over 40 new augments, which is great. Augment sets, which I'm assuming are just augments that work well together, that have synergy, almost like it's Isaac. And that's kind of the thing I really like with stuff like ARAM Mayhem or anything with augments in general. It almost feels like Isaac where you get like really broken combos, which is great. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about Binding of Isaac. Anyway, a very, very, very good roguelike. So anyway, there's a progression track now. What? What? For you ranked climbers, we now have the climb indicator as well to tweak the Aegis of Valor threshold. Oh, okay, I thought that was still an ARAM Mayhem. Okay, cool. For Demacia Rising, the next 2 chapters will also be unlocked, which I'm going to be honest, I've been slacking on. As you can see, I have 21k, whatever the fuck they're called, points, but I was playing it. It's cool. I just think it gets very repetitive, very boring. My quick opinion on that. Either way, though. It looks like pretty much that's it. So let's go into it. But before we go into it, let me say my opinion on just ADCs in general. In general, I mean, I still have to feel it out. I think things are pretty good. I've played like 1 or 2 games of mid, finally. I've played a lot of top, no jungle, I think. Or I think I've played some jungle, actually. And then obviously I've played mainly bot lane. The main thing I'll say with bot lane, I do like all the new changes and stuff, but in a way, maybe I was just too excited and too giddy, but the way I feel with things are right now for ADCs is the changes are nice. Obviously, completing the lane quest really helps ADCs early because it frees up the slot, which realistically does nothing. But the other thing is it gives us a little boost of gold and then more CS when we're actually CSing, which kind of does help, but the main power comes from the extra item slot, and you really don't feel that unless games go very, very long. Not many times have I had like a full build ADC game. Now, obviously, balance wise, some ADCs are better than others. Somehow, Jinx is still top tier, so I'm a little scared she might get nerfed. But in general, the changes don't feel that crazy, especially with the boot slot, because you just don't get to them often, and games are just generally quicker, at least in my elo. So even though the ADC changes are nice, it's not immediately felt and immediately noticeable. And I kind of feel like ADCs, while they're probably a bit stronger, especially because all the crit changes and the new itemization options, which I really think ADCs don't feel that much stronger, and it kind of just feels like the same old, just slightly better. So we got to see what's going to happen. We got to see if Riot agrees with these balance changes, but I'm not too crazy about ADC, where sometimes I really like playing other stuff like top now. By the way, the skins and everything we'll go over at the end. Let's go into this shit. So, ARAM Mayhem. So they're adding, like we said, new augment sets, new progression track, new augments. This is everything I wanted and more. I didn't know about the sets and I didn't know about the tracks, so that's even better. I just wanted new augments. So there's some that are unlockable through progression, which is basically going to be like Arena, I'm pretty sure. They want augment diversity and undeserved class. Wait, oh really? Undeserved classes. expanding options for them, including item upgrades, active summoner effects, and more. Yes, more prismatics! Because at the end of the day, right, I always mention this overarching thing of balance. People don't go into ARAM for balance, they go into ARAM for fun nonsense. And there's going to be games where it just feels like shit because you got unlucky rolls, and then there's going to be games where you're doing the shitting on the enemy. But that's why you're there. The more balanced things are, in my opinion, the more boring things are. So ARAM should be the place where they crank it up to 11, especially for Mayhem. Anyway, so what about existing augments? We're giving some underperforming augments some light tuning and refreshing the system with sets. So I really hope that means if you get certain augments, other ones are more likely to appear. Obviously, I don't know what it means, but I'm sure we'll find out. But for example, if you're an ADC, right, there's like an ADC augment set where now you're more likely if you get Tap Dancer to get something like Lethal Tempo or something like that. To again, just really make it super fucking crazy. Because the combat fantasy in ARAM Mayhem sometimes is fucking ridiculous. Even for tanks, like, sometimes I see a tank with like 20k health, I'm like, holy fucking shit. At that point, you really need Firebrand. But it's just amazing, man. Like, I really think they struck fucking gold with this shit. Or in another way of saying it, Minecraft diamonds. But anyway, let's keep going. So what are they doing? So there's a new out-of-game experience, giving you progression. Nice. We're exploring rewards. Mayhem enjoyers are giving goals, blah, blah, blah. So again, it's basically Arena. And they've made it pretty quick, which is great, because that's the main thing with Arena. I've never finished any single track in Arena, and I feel like I've played Arena a good amount of times when I've actually been playing it, so... You'll also find a couple of cosmetics and emotes and icons. Cool. Oh, and a new banner. Nice! So I'm not going to read these because I want to be surprised when I actually look at them, so we're going to skip all that. Oh my god, I did read the level 32 one just now, though. This one, I've actually seen. This one is hilarious. Oh my god. So augment sets. This is what I'm curious about. So there's a lot of combinations, and I want to make those moments even more rewarding. Some augments sound like they fit on paper, but they don't come across power-wise. Interesting. Some augments will now belong to a theme set. So I'm assuming if you get the augments, I don't think it necessarily changes the rate, and I'm kind of assuming here. But if you get certain augments together, maybe they get empowered. When you collect 2 to 4 augments from the same set, you'll unlock a special bonus. Okay, I was right. That enhances the combination. Love diving into castle with Clown College and Dive Bomb. Nice. Oh, and you could actually just keep dying and going, and that's actually great. I'm curious where they're gonna have this. Like, are they gonna have like a compendium with this shit like they have in TFT? I don't think so, but we'll definitely discover it over time. There's 9 augment sets in total. We can't wait for you to see them. Nice. I am not reading them though, because again, I want to be surprised, but I'm very, very excited for that shit. Oh, and then we have the balance changes. Here we go. So balance changes, Empyrean Promise. I honestly don't remember what this one does. Lesser Heal. This one's ass. Cerberus, I don't know. Gold Rend needs a buff, and it's getting a buff. I believe this is a prismatic one, and I really don't like it, because after a certain point, ARAM is quick. So you're going to get max build, and then the gold becomes useless, but whatever. From beginning to end is great, and it's getting even more buffed, which is great. Lightning Strike is... Oh my god, this is actually a huge buff. I don't know why they set the attack speed requirement so fucking high for this, but this is great too. That is actually achievable by so many more people now. And they already nerfed it once. And by nerfed it, I mean buffed it to like be lower. Because before it was like 4.0, I think. But now that it's 1.75, 3.5 some ADCs hit. Most ADCs are going to hit this now, which is great. Mystic Punch is, I think, overall better. With just the seconds instead of the percentage. And then Quality of Life. You can now take any summoner spells for active summoner spells like Blade Waltz or Biggest Snowball. You'll be able to select which slot. Oh, nice. Cool. Okay, bounties. So I believe this has nothing to do with Mayhem, so Mayhem's done, but great changes to Mayhem. Very exciting there. So anyway, champion bounties. We swung the tuning a little too hard. So basically they're nerfing this. They're making it so champion bounties are a little bit better. Nice. Turret plating. It's hard for teams to convert a winning team fight to meaningful progress. They're re-architecting temporary turret resists. Really? So they're basically nerfing how tanky turrets work, because I guess sieging was kind of hard. Even though we have grubbies in the game, but I guess this is fine. Okay, excuse me. Phalites and Vision. So this is a big one that I think they're very much keeping an eye on. The biggest thing is, I sort of feel like, and I've said this for a long time too, I feel like as time goes on, League is getting just more and more training wheels, especially with jungle, and now with support, really. Because the Phalite system really seems like it's like, oh, if you don't play support, if you don't play the game, here's where you ward. Ward here, ward in the circle right here, and we'll even give you a special bonus for doing it. And again, whether that's good or bad, it really just depends on what side of the fence you're on, what you value in a game, how much it holds your hand. Especially for a game that's as hard as League, but maybe League is just trying to appeal to again a more casual audience because they really don't want to die out too soon. Because eventually, every game will die. But League, I guess, is trying to extend it by just appealing more to casuals. Anyway, they're saying it's looking healthy so far, but they're concerned about early game vision. So basically, they're saying junglers have it probably harder. For Phalite system goals, Phalite are so powerful. The season's yellow trinket buffs. Oh. So basically, they're just nerfing vision early because jungles are having it tough. Okay. They're nerfing the Phalites in the river, which is fine. They're nerfing the early cooldown of wards, which is fine. Because vision is very, like, I think, I don't want to say overdone, but it's very prevalent. And this is where junglers have it hard, man. While pretending to be an effigy on a Phalite, Fiddlesticks will now display an on-model visual effect. Really? Wow. But yeah, so they're just nerfing vision early. That's fine. Support control wards. Control wards will now start in your role quest slot. Oh, really? Wow. Okay, that's great. That's a nice little quality of life change / buff. Cool. All right. Now let's get into the buffs and the nerfs, and let's go through this kind of quickly. Unless there's someone of value that I think, we're just going to go through these. Ahri got buffed, even though I think Ahri's pretty good. I saw a really good Ahri in my game, but Ahri got buffed, so there's that. Bel'Veth. So Bel'Veth has always historically struggled. I think Bel'Veth is a hard jungler because, number one, she takes forever to scale, but also number two, she's just kind of hard in general. And her early game really, really sucks. So I think they need to hopefully prop her up a bit more. Now, I always want to see her do good because she's infinite scaling, but let's see what they're doing. So her health growth is whatever, and then her R is getting buffed up in the mid and late game. Okay, and this is small, but it adds up a lot, especially in the late game. So this is okay, but it really doesn't help her main issue, which is early she's just so shit. Braum is getting less tanky, and apparently Braum is really good. I haven't noticed that, but I have seen some Braums, but I don't think they've overperformed, but that's because I guess people suck. But they are nerfing his damage. Okay, cool. Nothing crazy there. Briar! I actually love Briar. It's sad to see a lot of these AD junglers do bad, so I'm worried, or not worried, I'm curious if they're gonna buff Yi, but let's see. Because Briar, when she came out, was like really, really bad too, until people figured out like how to not int on her, which sometimes they still do. So Briar's not necessarily an easy champion either, so they should really give her a lot of leeway here. And they are. Health growth is up, which is great. Armor growth is up, which is great. The health cost is slightly less, which I don't think was too much of an issue. Same for W, same for E, and then same for R. Really? I mean, I guess it adds up over time, but this feels like nothing. Next, Diana. Apparently Diana's too good. They're nerfing her, but only her monster damage. Honestly, that's fine. Draven. So Draven was actually bugged, but it was micro-patched. Interesting. And they're literally telling you Essence Reaver is worse over BT, which is hilarious. And he's still pretty bad. Thank God I don't play him, and a lot of my viewers want me to as well. So he's getting buffed. Cool. I don't think Draven is necessarily that good because just late game, there's so much to keep track of. Draven's alright. He's definitely an early to mid game champ. Late game, it's very hard to play him, but a certain someone got Challenger with him, so can we really say he sucks? Yes, we can, because that guy got Challenger in every role. We shall not speak his name like he's Voldemort, though. Anyway, moving on to Echo. Echo's getting slightly nerfed, especially in the jungle. That's fine. Ezreal. I feel like Ezreal has been decent. And remember what I say, if Ezreal is the best ADC, that means there's something wrong with every other ADC. Ezreal should never be the strongest ADC because then it's just like a broken role. Because Ezreal has escapes, he has, I don't want to say engage, but Ezreal is a character who should never be a hyper carry and who should never be, at least with his current kit, should never be the best in class character because of just single target damage, relative AoE, I guess, with the ult, but mainly single target damage that really is just like a hit and run character, a poking character, if you will. Although he can kind of full engage in a way, it's just at that point he has to auto, which Ezreals don't normally do. Anyway, they're saying he's weak, which is ironic because I think Ezreal actually was doing pretty well here, especially with all the new builds, though. He is one of the ADCs that doesn't necessarily go crit, though, so what are they doing? They're increasing his AD growth, and the damage on his E is getting slightly buffed scaling-wise. And it's only for bonus. This is whatever. Ezreal's whatever. Hecarim. What are they doing to Hecarim? So they're buffing his main ability, which is his Q, and it doesn't look like a lot, but it's actually not too bad. Ooh, actually, they're nerfing the scaling, though. So it's a strict buff until you get to 225 AD, which is what they're saying. And whatever, this is boring. Boring change. Heimer. So let's see. Heimer's been doing bad, so they're balancing him. His health is going up, and the initial damage of his rockets, aka the first hit, which is honestly the most important too, is going slightly up. That's not bad, but it's base damage, so it's not really that much. That's whatever. Holy fucking Jesus, they have a whole paragraph here. Okay. Now, I've heard a lot of things about Jace, and I have very, very strong opinions of Jace, who I call Bobby. Bobby here is... it's really weird. This is where, if you're Korean, this champion is absolutely broken as shit. If you're anyone else, I think it's honestly not too good. And I just hate Jace personally, and it's sad too, because I have his legendary skin and I didn't even use it yet. Maybe I should, but I don't know why. I just feel like Jaces are useless to me. They're only there for damage, and if you're not an ADC or a mage, why the fuck are you there only for damage? You should have something else. Unless you're like a tank or something. But, yeah, I just don't like Jace. But what are they doing? Please don't tell me they're buffing him. He's better in the jungle than top lane. That's crazy. Our goal for Victor's better half. Wow! But not overbearing jungle role. To achieve these goals, we're reducing his reliance on bonus AD. So they want him to do more melee, really now. So they don't want him to be easy, they want him to be harder. Melee mode is the harder mode. So they're kind of decently buffing his Q's base. The monster damage is going down, so they don't want him jungle. The Q damage is going kind of down in both ways, actually, base and scaling. Wow. Again, less monster damage. And then the R is getting buffed in terms of the shred. Okay. I mean, yeah, hammer form, definitely better. Hopefully range form is still usable, but it looks like it is. I hate Jace though, fuck Jace. And it's not like the other people too. It's not like Lee Sin and Elise and them, which I think are just straight up useless. And Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix and Elise and Lee Sin I think are just very, very useless champions. Bobby, in a way, sometimes has less than most of those characters because those characters at least have more CC. Jace is just straight damage, but I still think he's more useful than them because God Lord does he do a lot of damage. But I still hate him. Anyway, Blue Kayn. So Blue Kayn is weak. They're kind of just buffing it. Excuse me. And what are they doing? They are buffing the base damage, and that's it. Okay. Literally just boring changes here. Maokai. Maokai sucks, as he usually does. I think Maokai needs a kit rework. I honestly think his kit is just old, dated, and his old kit was better, and they already gave him an update too. Because for those of you who don't know, Maokai's ult used to be one of the best ults in the game. It was AoE damage reduction that then siphoned and like soaked up the damage, and then you exploded with it. It was a really good team fighting ult. His ult now I've always clowned on, and while it is better than it used to be, it's still a piece of shit. I think his ult is so ass. Well, it looks cool though, but I think his ult is ass. I just don't like this kid anymore. So the flat damage of Maokai is going slightly up. Pretty cool. Maokai's always ass though. I feel like he's such a simple champion that really doesn't do much besides just slightly guaranteed minimal CC. Also, what the fuck is this? I don't even know if I want to read all this. But apparently a lot of people are frustrated with MEL, so I guess they're changing things. Wow. I hope they don't gut her, though. MEL was a champion I was really excited for when she launched, and then I realized the fantasy that I had, which was infinite stacking, you know, her passive stacks on people, wasn't that realistic. And then I kind of fell out of favor with her. But she is still pretty fun and decently good. Let's see what they're doing. They're nerfing the fuck out of the fucking passive. Holy fucking shit. The projectile damage is going hella down. Holy fucking shit. They reduce the clutter. Okay. So it's not going to be on minions anymore, the mark. It's still going to function as normal, but still. Fix a certain champion to spawn units dying to overwhelm from an unempowered. Wow. Holy shit. So Q. Now deals additional damage the first time an explosion hits. Okay, so it's kind of like Heimer rockets, ironically enough. So a lot of the damage is front loaded now, which I guess is better. The total damage is overall better. It looks like if you hit everything, but it's going to be really hard, I think, to hit everything. The mana cost went down, which is cool later. The minion damage is now fully buffed, which is great. The cast time is longer, which is a little sad. The projectile speed is a decent amount slower. The radius is smaller. The area spread is smaller. The channel time is shorter, which is good. And the damage type is now .AoE. Really? And then a stronger area telegraph visual. MEL might be shit now. I mean, I really need to see what these numbers actually mean, but wow, it's her reckoning day. No pun intended. Rebuttal. So now it doesn't have damage immunity, it now gives a shield. That's a huge nerf already. Physical damage is reflected or is reduced by 30% before magic damage. Okay. It destroys projectiles. Oh, she doesn't have the reflect anymore? What? Oh, it's only some though. Okay. Wow. Wow. So AoE stuff, it doesn't fully reflect back at the user because it's not necessarily targeting her, it's just spreading. Okay. Like Brandy, Ryze, Katarina R. Wow. And Samira R. Wow. So she can't reflect that shit no more. It seems like she could reflect the other stuff though. But now you get decaying move speed for a little longer. So they provided like one buff and then just massive nerfs. Holy shit. Dude, when they have had enough of a champion, they just come in with an axe and they murder them. So the E's getting nerfed on the radius, nerfed on the linger, nerfed on the dot radius, nerfed on the cast range slightly, slightly buffed on the speed, slightly buffed on the cooldown, buffed on the duration overall, which is actually pretty good. The damage is getting slightly buffed. The damage per second is going slightly up. Okay, see, this one's not too bad. The W is really bad. The Q is like horrendous from what it looks like. And then finally the R. They're slightly increasing the scaling. Honestly, I wouldn't mind if they make the passive normally do less damage and have most of the explosion be in the ult. I wouldn't mind that, but wow, MEL is just worse. Is she still playable? Is she still decent? I don't know. But is she worse? Jesus fucking Lord, it's her reckoning. The Fury. She's doing slightly more damage in the jungle. Which is ironic too, because I thought she was meant to be a jungle, but she's really a laner, which is ironic. I think she fits in the jungle so much more, like, better thematically, but whatever. Neela, which is apparently really good. I don't understand how Neela was so good, and I hate this, like, ADC. This is one of the few ADCs I refuse to really play. I fucking hate the shit out of her. I just don't like her gameplay, her gimmick, and everything. I really do believe she was just an answer to everyone going Yasuo ADC. And like, alright, here you go, guys, another melee, stop going Yasuo. And I guess it kind of worked, but I just really hate her. So she's getting slightly nerfed with attack and armor, that's whatever. So, Nunu and Willump. The main thing I've seen this season is people, for some odd reason, are going full AP Nunu. I don't know if it's because of the new items, I don't know if it's for whatever reason, but if people are going full AP Nunu, I'm assuming Nunu must be broken or people are just trolling, or there's some cheese. I'm expecting to see Nunu nerfs, so let's see. God, saying that is so weird. Nunu nerfs. The triple N. I can think of another triple letter, but we won't say that. Anyway, so the maximum damage of W is getting buffed. Wait, what? They were gonna give him a hefty nerf? What? Wait, so what are they doing? They're just buffing him. Why are they saying they were gonna give him a nerf, but then they're just buffing him? What the fuck? Or are they just reverting stuff they took away from before? I honestly don't remember. But Nunu somehow is buffed, and again, he's already going full AP, so this just incentivizes that more. That's a little weird. Riven. Okay, so Riven has had like a resurgence, and typically there's been like other more modern champions where you always ask the question now, Why would you go Riven when other people who are more modern, like Aatrox, kind of like Ambessa, maybe even Zaheen, but not really, why would you go Riven when you could go them? Well, not anymore. Riven has been rediscovered and it's shown how bullshit she is. Thank God I haven't run into one, but my God, have I seen clips of like Riven dominance again, and it's giving me PTSD because this champion has been an issue historically. But anyway, yeah, she's doing too good. They're nerfing her. The passive is getting nerfed by 5%. And one thing I will say with Riven is there is a lot of nuance and skill to her, so I don't think they should nerf her too hard. And it has been a long time since Riven has been really good, so I think they should let her stay in the limelight for a little bit more. Riven is also one of their most popular champions too, and she's hot as hell. I love Riven. Just can't play her for shit. But anyway, the Q damage is getting nerfed bonus wise by 5%. This is fine. Yeah, this is whatever. I mean, yeah, this is literally whatever, whatever. Riven's slightly worse. This is not that bad. Rise. Apparently Rise is really good somehow. And the main thing they're nerfing is the W. They're nerfing the scaling on both the AP and the mana side. The base is staying the same. Also, I think they fucked up the spacing there too, which is ironic. I always catch these little mistakes they do. Where's QA, Riot? Where's QA for the billion-dollar company? But anyway, Rise is slightly worse, but nothing crazy. I mean, 10% is hefty, plus with the 1% mana, it's actually hefty, but the W shouldn't be where a majority of the damage is coming from anyway, so this is fine. As long as they don't nerf the other stuff, which they didn't. So Trundle. I've actually played Trundle this season, and while I do think bruisers are just not having a decent time like Mundo, who I also think got nerfed, so maybe that's why. Maybe they were having too good of a time. I've played Trundle, and Trundle scales, surprisingly enough. But Trundle is a very simple champion into simple matchups, just playing him into a tank or, I guess, slightly bruiser, but Trundle's fun, but I guess he's not doing that hot. And to be fair, I did face him in his ideal matchup, I think. So I kind of had an easy time. But yeah, they're buffing Trundle, not by much though. This is a boring buff. Cool. Tryndamere. He's not that good, so they're buffing him with damage. Varus. So for some reason, I've been hearing top lane Varus, because I guess in pro play they did some nonsense with that shit. I don't think it's good. I don't know if it's good, honestly. I haven't seen it. I hope not to see it. That's the only thing I've really heard with Varus. I don't think Varus is doing too hot. I don't think he's doing too bad either. Let's see what they're doing. At least it's not back in the day where Varus was just terrible for so long, but let's see what they're doing. His armor growth is going down, and his on hit is getting nerfed AP wise. Oh, excuse me, and the max health is also getting nerfed. Wow. I never thought I'd see the day where they're like touching Varus in a bad way. His top specific build of AP and maxing W. So it really just sounds like this is like a cheese thing. They're just like getting rid of the cheese. That's fine. Vi stands for victory. Vice, violence, whatever. So Vi does not stand. Wow, literally, I didn't even read this yet. Vi certainly does not stand for victory anywhere but pro play. So they want to make her better for the casuals, so they are increasing her health and her AD growth. Whatever. Boring ass. Voli. I think Voli is low-key kind of really good. I still don't like that he builds like this hybrid bullshit now. I liked when it was full AP or full AD, and I didn't even like the AP side either, but Volibear builds some like really weird nonsense, and I think he's better than ever, but let's see what's happening. Especially in lane, holy shit. So his Q is getting kind of nerfed early, but the scaling's better for AD, thank God. The cooldown on E is getting nerfed, and the non-champion damage is getting nerfed as well. Okay, that's fine. So they're not changing him too much. Interesting. They're kind of nerfing his jungle more than anything. Whatever. Xin! So Xin is dead. But I guess his ghost is still in league. So, they're buffing him because he sucks. Cool. So every third hit now heals for more, which is really nice. And his E now gives more attack speed, which is help compound with the passive. Very nice. Although Zen is a little bit of a dated champ too, but he's still decent. Yone! Yone's weak. They're buffing him. I haven't seen Yone that much, but he definitely does feel weak from what I remember. Also, they fucked up the spacing on this again. So his Q, his main ability, is getting buffed by 5%. That's cool. And Yon scales pretty decently too, so that's nice. Zaheen. So basically they want Zaheen to go jungle. So they're buffing his jungle damage. That's pretty cool. And then Zed. We regret having jungle Zed in 3 of the past 4 patches now, but players keep getting better at playing and itemizing the Shadow Ninja, which is ironic because when you think of Zed, I think thematically he really fits in the jungle, but they're nerfing the fuck out of his jungle. So now I guess you have to go mid. Haha. And that's all the buff changes. Wow, not really much AD changes. Some, but not much. Anyway, let's get to the items. A lot of these I can't speak for because I haven't noticed them, I haven't seen them, and I don't play support, but we'll talk on some of them. Actualizer. I don't remember what this fucking does, but they're buffing it because it's ass. Dusk and Dawn. This is actually a really strong item. I wouldn't be surprised if they nerf it, and they are nerfing it, but not by much. And they're kind of buffing it too. Yeah, it's really good too for a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people just straight build this first, and it's very popular. And I think it's good for new items to be popular too, but it feels pretty good on the people who need it. Endless Hunger. I haven't seen this item. A small charge to the build path, blah blah blah. So what are they doing? They're nerfing it slightly, but also buffing it with damage. Cool. Protoplasm Harness. So I've wanted to build this. I haven't been able to build it because the game just hasn't lasted long enough, but I feel like it won't be too good. But let's see. It's powerful for users that can leverage the resistance scaling and somewhat unexciting for most other users. So what are they doing? They're buffing it. So basically, wait a minute. What are they doing here? It almost looks like kind of like a nerf. So they say they're shifting power, but it really looks like it's more nerf than buffed. Whatever. Armored Advance. So they're touching one of the boots that only mid lane can pick up too, which is interesting. So basically they're saying this boot is too good into assassins, so they're nerfing it. The shield is... Wait, are they nerfing it? Wait a minute, what? Plus 8 bonus... Wait a minute, what the... These changes represent a tuning to the end of season. Huh. I'm confused. Wait a minute. So... It's better... Well, actually... What they say kind of makes sense here, because you're never going to get this level 1. So now the starting is just 100 to 200. I guess this is a buff, I guess? Oh, and Chain Lace too. Yeah, I'm just going to assume this is a buff. Cool. Runes. Cash back. I feel like almost no one uses this because if you understand anything about money at all, and as much as I shun League players, League is a complicated game, so you have to be somewhat smart to play it. Or just a savant, I guess. But I feel like this rune sucks if you really know what you're doing. Or maybe it's good if you really get ahead and like you just really want to snowball like crazy, but it's too risky. I don't like this rune and they're buffing it. I still don't think it's good. Phase Rush. So what are they doing? They don't like how ranged is proccing it, especially Ori, Vlad, and Talia, and Rise. So what are they doing? They're making it worse for ranged. Whoopee. I hate when they do shit like this because it's eventually just going to be so bad compared to like the melee counterpart where it's obvious like you don't take this for ranged people. Anyway, Triple Tonic. I hate this fucking rune. And apparently it's actually pretty good. So they're slightly nerfing it. Whatever. And then finally we get to Arena, which like I said before, I wish I played more of, but I just don't because life. But Arena is still around, it still looks pretty good, and wow, that's the only change to Arena. Cool. So the rank system updates. Here we go. Let's see this. I wonder if they're going to address the fact that like it's so easy to climb now. We found out resolving the cause of some Apex tier negative LP issues. Really? There's negative LP gains at the highest level of the ladder. Wow. Intro. Upping the value required for Aegis claims from C to B. Ah. So now they're making it so you actually have to perform a little bit better if you've been auto-filled. I don't know if B... Anything above B I think is too restrictive. I think B is still pushing it. C might have been too easy in terms of like, you know, rank to get if you're playing like a champion you never play, but maybe, I mean, this kind of helps towards, again, not just giving out so much free LP, because Jesus Christ, it's been rampant. So after observing the power of duos in Season 1, how they perform across the ladder, blah, 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 they're too strong or making some adjustments to make these games more fair. Really? What are they doing? So as committed in 2026, we're going to enable the climb indicator feature. This will help players understand and identify whether someone's rank is low, but their MMR is high. Ah, I thought this was already in the game, but I guess not. There's a silver and a platinum game. Oh my god. And then WAST. So WAST I've tried using. It really fucks me up, and I'm sure if I sit down and learn it, I could do it. But the main thing that regular controls don't or have that WASP doesn't is auto attack move. And I've binded it today, and it is a lifesaver with just like kiting and targeting. WASP isn't bad, and again, I could see for ADCs, it'd be great using it, but it still feels a little janky, a little weird. And the fact that it doesn't have attack move really upsets me. It makes me feel like I have to do a lot more work with like being so exact. But yeah, I think WASP has its place, and it especially, like I always say, just paves the way for League to come eventually to consoles. So who knows if that's ever going to happen. Either way, I really just think they should let you swap between it like in the middle of the game, though. After 10 minutes, they lock you out of swapping back, and I really don't like that. What are they doing here? This setting lets you choose between your cursor location, your movement direction, or your movement direction unless your cursor location is in the... What the fuck? There's a known issue with Nidalee in this set. Okay, whatever. This is confusing, but whatever. I'm actually curious how many people use WASP now. Co-op versus AI queue. Drastically increasing queue times. Wow. Okay, this is whatever. And then streamer mode. Player who use streamer mode to troll their teammates from the safety of anonymity. Really? All information that you hide from the lobby and game will also be hidden from you. Oh, so people were doing this to like harass people without getting in trouble. Now, if you turn it on, now you can't see anything either. Wow. That's pretty cool. Okay. I didn't even know people were doing that. People are evil. And then there's Clash. So for EU and other regions, they're doing a makeup because they have to cancel the other one. That's fine. I'm really just waiting for the ARM Clash. I keep missing the regular Clashes, and I don't care because it's a nightmare to make a team anyway. And it's sometimes cringe, and there's a lot of strangers on the internet. Your shop. Nice. This is coming. Cool. And then Demacia Rising. The new stuff is out, and now we have Kale. Cool. Bug fixes, whatever. ARAM Mayhem bug fixes, cool. And now finally the skins. I think these are the first skins I actually didn't see, and I have no clue what they are coming out. Usually I get like leaked or I get spoiled on TikTok or whatever. I have no clue what these skins even are. So we have Firecracker Ash. I don't know if any of these are legendary either. We have Ash getting another skin, Seraphine getting another skin. Two characters have a lot of skins. Firecracker Yumi, which is actually a pretty nice looking skin. Poppy, which looks funny as fuck. That almost looks like Hatsune Miku in a way. Firecracker Ziggs, which looks fucking barbaric and kind of scary. And then Firecracker Caitlyn too, which is right next to Yumi, which is funny. Overall, it's Chinese Lunar New Year, I believe, right about now, so these make sense. Obviously, if you know me, you know I'm not crazy for this type of stuff, but whatever. I think just the selection of skins, though, is kind of sad. These are champs that usually have a lot of skins, so it's whatever. And then we have Chromas. And that's the patch. I feel like we kind of went longer than I was supposed to. Yeah, holy shit, we went for 44 minutes. I said I wanted this to be quick. This was not quick at all. Yeah, overall, I mean, like they said, it's a major patch. I'm really, really happy with the ARAM Mayhem updates. Very, very, very happy about that. Hopefully this shit becomes permanent. After that, the stuff with the game, I'm shocked they didn't touch ADC more. I guess they're letting it sit. Um, yeah, everything else just kind of seems like more normal stuff, except Mel. Mel got fucking gutted. Holy shit. But yeah, nothing too crazy aside from that. So I think while there was a lot of stuff here, was it stuff of substance? I don't really feel like it was. But that's to be fair because we're not at the major patches anymore. After this, I expect things to get even more tame, so it is what it is. Am I surprised by anything here? Aside from the Mel stuff, no, not really. But overall, I think League has been pretty well, and I think it's better than it's usually been, which is great. So overall, I'm having decent time with League. if I had to give this a rating, I would give it like probably, and I feel like I rate this shit the same every fucking time, but I mean, I'd probably give League right now in this patch in general, like especially with the Era Mayhem updates, I'll boost it up to like a 7 out of 10 mark, Merrills. Mm, eh, 6.5. 6.5. 5 being neutral, I don't care. I think this patch was better than usual. It's just a lot of the changes I expected to be a little bit bigger. A lot of them were just like just regular like housekeeping changes, if you know what I mean. Either way though, I'll say 6.5 mark Merrills out of 10. Hope everyone enjoyed. Hope everyone has a good one. If you want to see more of me, watch me at Twitch TV/Technics channel, where we can argue about balance and you can watch me rank up more. Anyway, have a good one, everyone. Eee!